So in case anyone's dropped in already, or at all, this is Rimeport Icerise.
Ta-da!
And I have some lunatics here whose idea of fun is having me throw problems at them.
Define fun.
Such a relative word.
For given values of fun. So if you would like to introduce your characters.
Oh, you're on Twitch TV. All right. Oh, Lord. No, that's going to be way too meta. I've got Discord and then... no, I'm not going to watch on Twitch at the same time. I'm going to get completely... Mag, don't do that to me. That's not fair. Not fair.
Are you getting lost?
Especially the fact that I can hear myself over the top of the fact that I'm talking to myself.
That may
Very bizarre.
be a needless level of recursive viewing.
Yeah, thank you. So, seeing as I'm the idiot that's talking at the moment, I am
Keep at it.
Ashton. Thank you. Thank you kindly, sir. I'm playing a half-elf cleric of the grave called Ashton Clearwell. My deity is Feniston in his psychopomp. So I'm a healer, a mortician, and I basically help the dead to leave this Vale of Tears.
Otherwise known as Slough.
Exactly. At the moment, I'm supposed to be with people that I have asked for help, trying to find a lost chemist and his shipment of a particular plant called Icewort. Why I'm in a ruined abbey, I have no idea.
Maybe you're just not an NCIS fan.
Meh. Oh dear, this is probably not a good thing to be eating.
Well, I might as well continue then. One of the said chumps being brought along to find this said chemist.
I prefer volunteers.
Quite unknown to himself. Thaddeus Remerian is a high elf wizard and scholar and scribe, and all in all kind of lost in this endeavor. But feels at least somewhat appreciated, so he tags along.
He's not alone in the lost feeling.
And next up,
I guess I'll go then. Okay, so I'm Hakris Baldpike. I'm a cleric of Arterian, which is the god of justice, balance, and commerce, and I'm a dwarf.
Right. I'm Gerald. I'm Gerald. Gnome. I'm sort of a smuggler.
no. See what you've done there.
No!
Hold on. You've done there. Hold on. You've done there. Hold on. You've done there. Oh, I'm gonna need to mute this one for a moment. See, what you've done there is you've been streaming the Twitch stream back to us. Ha!
Who? Me?
Yes.
I thought it was clever enough to actually show the selected tab.
It does show
Since
the selected
I
tab.
actually got to choose the tab when I started streaming.
I think that hurt my brain. I think we broke the time continuum. Somewhere there is now a crack in space.
Pretty much.
Teething troubles.
Right. I shall not touch that window then. Shall satisfy myself with all the rest of my windows. I have several.
I'm just not going to comment on that.
Well, Garros was in the middle of
Lunch.
identifying himself.
Yes. Garros.
Yes. Should I start over?
I think probably best so.
Alright. So I'm playing Garrus, Garrus Falwar. He's a gnome, and he's a trader, maybe a smuggler. He's tagging along. He's not really committed to
The cause.
the plot, to the cause. Yeah.
As I said, you're not alone.
No, a gnome, not alone. So, I shall switch over to the full screen view, and if all is working as it should, that should now be visible on the stream. Oh, do be quiet, Plong machine.
Where do you want us to be?
In Roll20 will do fine.
Well, Roll20 is where I am.
Goody good, and Roll20 is showing up on the stream. Excellent.
Yes, I shall not meddle with that anymore.
What was they saying about wizards and not meddling? Fairly sure there's a quote there somewhere.
Crunchy and taste good with ketchup, I think it was. But that was dragons. You are,
Dragon's Cookbook.
you are, of course, in... Anywhere?
We're in the Tadpool Abbey, or the ruins of Tadpool Abbey, having just left the crypt, where I have made sure that all of the bodies are where they're supposed to be. The only problem I think we're going to have is I wasn't sure whether Hacrius was going to be looking for his particular artifact down there.
Do any of you know what the artifact is?
I've got a vague feeling it's a book, but I don't know why I know that.
Yeah, I decided it was a book.
That could be why I know it. In which case, I probably would say that buried in the mausoleum might not be the best place for a book.
My notepad is out in the other room, just a moment.
Quick, go mad, everyone! Sorry.
Too late.
But from what I can let you know of what we did last time, we didn't disturb any of the closed sarcophagi. So the one with the ever glowing candles over in the far corner, which have the name Primus or First, I assume. My Latin's not dreadful. We didn't open that. Basically, Ashton wouldn't have let you open it because, as far as she's concerned, you don't disturb the dead. Yes, you definitely do not disturb.
At least no more than once.
No, not at all. How could you? But yes, if it's a properly buried person, with all due respect, then you leave them as they are. But you'll have definite words if Aether starts moving around.
Know if you don't look.
No, just stop it. You're channeling Aether, and I'm not listening to you. No, she doesn't have that curiosity. So if he's doing something and she's not in the room, then she's not going to be able to do anything about it. Although she will have thoughts. very hard playing somebody who doesn't want to open a casket. Going against all my natural tendencies.
Very odd statement for anyone not being a role player.
I mean, the really interesting thing is, of course, that fantasy role-playing is where you go to make a change from your usual habits, so...
I know. Worrying, isn't it?
Not a cemetery goes safe.
I swear, Governor, it wasn't me. You can't prove it.
I was resurrecting them.
With malice aforethought. Hello, Softy. What have you been up to? You bringing in all the seeds again? Yeah. Right, one of our cats is an extremely fluffy individual, and the plants in the garden love him as a seed distribution service.
Yep, ours came in before, covered in them.
Well then, you find yourselves in a room in Tadpole Abbey, having just come up the stairs from the crypt.
Thank you. So, if I remember rightly from the map perspective that we have,
And two
this is
people in
sort
the
of...
main cloister.
Yeah, this
The
is the
wall.
sort of the antechamber to the main chapel. And yeah, as Hakria says, there were two people in the cloisters that we overheard.
And
If
so,
it... Oh, that's true.
at least I did.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I think Garros did as well.
Yep.
Sorry, my dad always said I had verbal diarrhea. Please tell me to shut up when you want to.
And did you find anything of interest while you were in the crypt?
Oh, okay.
Yes, the ship
yes.
river.
Well, some of us didn't find that, or at least didn't actually part bits of it. We did find a far more recent corpse than all the others, who had obviously been killed in that area, we think about 80-ish years ago. It's the fun part of being a mortician. Died blunt force trauma to the chest. He'd obviously been stuffed in one of the open sarcophagi, I should say, in a bit of a panic, we think, or I think. He did have a brass medallion with a castle in ruby on the front, about 2 to 3 inches across. However, the key, or certainly the plaque that might have been used as a way of opening the 2 big double doors in there, had gone. So certainly Ashton's ideas are that somebody came down there to either open it or check that it was closed. We don't know, but considering he was trying to force it, it feels more like he was probably trying to open it. And it basically attacked him. But it's not anywhere in the crypt, which leads me to believe that he had friends, or at least compatriots, who stuffed him in the open sarcophagus and then legged it. Possibly to... Well, it's now known as the Crimson Keep, but it used to be known as Red Castle.
Right.
However, we do still have somebody who needs to look for something within the Abbey, and we've not found anything I'd consider to be a library yet.
No, but we have half the bottom floor left and the entire top floor, as far as I know. At least we have, since the 3 of us hasn't been in the
No, we haven't.
right part of the monastery.
No, but also from what Garros and Aether did mention when they finally joined us, is it sounds like the students of the Glacis school, who Aether was following, appear to be using the top right-hand corner as some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Campsite?
Right.
All
I
right.
think that's what we got over.
Might
Yeah.
be I might have zoned out a bit.
All I've got on my last notes was Aether and Galus join us after a very long time! Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
Very helpful.
Mm.
But upstairs would be the best place to continue, then I would say.
Well, hopefully out of notice of anybody else. I mean, you've only mentioned 2 people. I think, Garros, you only mentioned 2 people you'd seen as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully we at least outnumber them. Fingers crossed.
Right. So upstairs then.
Mhm.
Okay. Hacrius, you okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
At the moment, we're trying to help you.
Mm.
I don't really have a great deal to do here because I don't think. I don't know.
Well, first I'm just going to show you the handout.
Ooh.
I made a medallion for you.
Oh, look at that. Very pretty. Does indeed look like a crimson keep.
Hmm. I didn't quite get the gem effect I was looking for, but it does the job.
Give them a pinch.
Garros,
Yeah.
as a trader, I'm not going to say smuggler, that's rude, but as a trader, do you have a way of appraising things?
Yes, I think so.
I'm intrigued as to what the ruby-like castle in the middle is actually made of, because the medallion itself looks brass. Is it an actual gem, or is it just a glass? Glass? It's elderflower, for goodness sake. It's not even alcoholic. A glass representation of something more valuable.
Andrew, to help me.
Yes.
Do I have some way of evaluating that?
I think you could probably do it with a insight check. You can't tell much about it. It doesn't look particularly familiar. It doesn't feel quite heavy enough to be gold, but it looks right. All in all, it looks really valuable.
All right.
Ashton, given what you've mentioned, make an insight check as well.
Hang on a sec. Nope, that's a D8, you stupid girl. It does help if you don't actually pick up the right dice. Insight. Ooh. It's 14 plus 7, so 21.
You are in fact correct. It is brass. And the red bits are very well done glass, but they are glass.
Right.
It's you get the impression that it's a badge of office rather than a
Anything valuable.
exactly.
As in, yeah, jewellery. So, yeah, badge versus jewellery.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, it definitely gives me the feeling that the people coming here were something to do with the Red Castle as it was at the time. Because certainly previous Crimson Keep used to be called Red Castle. I feel like I'm being sidetracked into a quest that wasn't something that I started on.
What?
Goodness me, Andrew, why would you do something like that to me?
I thought
I
this
just
entire
present.
campaign was a series of sidetracks.
I
Well,
just
that's true.
present you with a smorgasbord of herring, and you decide which ones are what colour.
Oy vey.
Oh, they're all red.
Yes, red herring, yeah.
Or are they?
Man.
Are we on the first floor right now?
You are on the ground floor.
We're
on the
ground
ground
at the moment, we're going up.
At the in the triangular room?
Yes. Are you taking the stairs up, or are you heading
I
out?
think,
That's
I
the
think
most
we just-
helpful way of getting upstairs.
considering we have a flight of stairs going up, I thought going up was probably an idea, yeah.
I agree.
Then up the stairs you go. The stairs are winding and wooden and old.
Oh, great. Oh, my.
Now I shall just move Aether out into the garden, for he is not here.
Might as well chuck away the beholder as well.
Yes,
Oh.
I did.
because he's just a random viewpoint character. I have received a message.
Dun, dun, dun.
Is it likely that Aether would have seen something in the crypt, like a mist passage, and he just wanders down it? There weren't many side passages in the cellar, but
If I remember rightly, the one that he did start down, you said it was blocked.
that was out in the sewer,
Yeah.
where he just explored the full extent of it.
So that's your call then, DM.
Yep. So I think he might be going out to recce the outside of the abbey. But we shall
Sounds
see.
like a plan.
I'll just let him know we're streaming. There we go. So you are in the room there. You may notice there's a barred window in the wall to the chapel.
So just the chapel is actually 2 stories high.
It is.
Fancy.
And by the looks of it, 2 doors.
Okay.
No Stuarts.
Sorry.
Tudors.
Oh. When you are within range again, I am keeping a tally score about how many times I need to thump you. You do realise this now.
I mean, there's not many people who find themselves safer due to COVID.
No. There will be thumping. Thumping will be happening. I am just keeping a tally of how many times I can legitimately thump you.
You are going on my list. What is your name?
Don't tell him, Pike! Pike!
You have a wooden door to your right and another door to your front.
And that funny sort of not quite triangular bit.
I'm gonna go in the wooden door, I think.
I am happy to follow people.
Yeah, I'll follow as well.
Okay. As you go out there, give me a perception check. Everyone going through that door.
Okay.
That door.
Yeah, this one out onto the, I suppose, organ loft kind of thing.
14.
Okay. You notice that the floor's a bit creaky. Garros, as do you. Hacrius, your roll, please.
Yep. Don't remember how to do this.
That's one of the reasons I cheat and use an actual dice.
Yeah, Hackers, that's not the way to do it. Just click your perception skill on your sheet.
Ah, okay.
So you actually get all the bells and whistle included.
Yeah, but 13 is fine anyway.
Hey, 17's better though.
Yep. Either way, you've all managed to notice that the floor is very past its prime.
Is there anything of interest then before we quickly back the hell out there?
There's a
Yeah.
couple of mouldering old pews.
Okay. So is this like a sort of a mezzanine above and overlooking the chapel itself?
It is indeed. It's, as I say, it's rather like a, what's it called, organ loft.
I know. Some churches have them as where the choir is, so that you get that ethereal effect of the singing coming from heaven.
Exactly.
I know. I've sung in them. Ha! So yeah, I will leave. I mean, I'm not heavy, but I will leave quickly. I think if anybody wants to do a quick search of that area, I don't recommend it. But I would imagine that Garros is probably the lightest of us.
Yeah, I'm probably the heaviest, I imagine.
I was going to say, considering what I think you said you were wearing, I don't really want to see you disappearing through the floor.
Heavy armor is not fun for that.
Now I take it then that Thaddeus didn't go out there.
No, I had no interest in it.
Okay.
Didn't seem like there was any point.
Well, as you step out onto the, or rather into the hallway, you find yourselves in a hallway or corridor overlooking the courtyard.
I will actually... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
All I was going to say is Ashton will at this point look to Garros because she'll remember that Aether had sort of rather testily sort of said that they'd come from upstairs. So, you know, whether this is the route that they came, and in which case, does he remember which way they, rather than go over ground that he's already seen? Whether we take the same route or whether we try a different aspect, as it were. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, we came from the right.
Okay.
Aether would like it noted that somebody has a squeaky chair, and that is me.
Ah, I thought you were just showing us just how bad the floorboards were.
Yes, it's atmospheric. But worse than squeaky, the piston on it is giving me that sinking feeling.
Oh dear.
Ooh.
On the upside, I ordered a replacement piston a couple of months ago, so that's been sitting in my living room ready to replace when I've got a minute.
Alright.
So all will be well.
Good.
Yes. Aether and Garros came from this side.
Right.
They haven't actually told you what they found there, if anything.
That's true. Karos?
We didn't actually find anything of interest. Just empty holes, as I recall.
It has been abandoned for a very long time.
Out of
These-
curiosity... Oh, sorry.
These wall slits, are they just openings or...
They have been windows.
Right.
You see
Way down to the
remnants.
floor is this sort of small ledge left.
Those are almost all the way down to the floor.
And
There's
you said they looked over the
the courtyard,
cloister.
yes.
Courtyard,
Yes.
yeah.
I'll actually have a look out then and see if I can spot the two people arguing by the table. That
Okay.
I saw earlier.
As you look out over the courtyard, you see much the same as earlier. You've got the big trench that's been excavated. You've got the wheelbarrows. And you've got the table where you saw the two people arguing earlier. They are no longer there.
Right.
Going across the middle of the cloisters, you see a sort of raised, covered walkway. It's held up off the ground by pillars connected with arches. And the walkway itself is fully enclosed with, again, about half-height openings or windows. You can't tell from this distance if they've ever had glass or if it's been ventilated all along.
It's very grand. Given we have two clerics here, can we make some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Not advised. Some sort of reasoned guess as to where a library might be? Or the best place to sort of look?
Between the two of you, you know that the library would often be along with some sort of admin rooms and general non-foodie stuff. So it wouldn't be in the same place as the Brethren's accommodation, and it wouldn't be in the kitchen.
Right.
You also know that yeah, that's about all you can figure out at the moment.
Between the pair of us as to ideas of sort of abbey life. Because I mean, I've not worked in an abbey, I've only worked at a small church and a hospital, so I would imagine that you have a slightly different viewpoint, but again, you are a wandering cleric, not somebody who is tied to an abbey. Okay.
Basically, there's no ecclesiastical architecture in Linody is largely based around which direction the main door to the church faces, so that the winter solstice
Gotcha.
dawn light comes in there.
Yeah.
So, if we, like I said, we came from the right and didn't find anything of interest there.
Yeah.
So I think we'll head left.
Okay.
Is it left or up from where we are? Because I think you mentioned that you'd found sort of like a kitchen area.
Yeah,
Which would-
on the opposite side.
So yeah.
one floor down.
So I'd agree with you. I think either going left or up, whichever direction we are at the moment, feels more plausible.
Well, up would be the
Mhm.
Map-wise, would be the
Yeah,
Yes.
because I think left
unknown
at the moment
direction.
goes. Oh, great! Yay, unknown.
Well, we have to explore the unknown since we're looking for stuff that is lost.
Fairly sure stuff that is lost isn't here, but what the heck?
So, yes, I'll have a look in through this door.
You see an empty room. There is dust and rubble.
Is the rubble vaguely shelf-like?
I mean, there's something on one of the walls that could have been a shelf at some point. But there's nothing on it.
So nothing that screams derelict library.
No.
Then I suppose.
Ever onward.
The road goes, as we know, ever on and on.
You lot coming?
Yep. At least I thought I was.
Garros hasn't moved.
Like the last time, I'm having a very big problem with the map.
Oops.
Right.
But I already have the map in picture form.
Okay. So, you got to that door there,
Yep.
and I take it you glance in?
Yeah.
When you look inside, you do see that there's sort of remnants of shelves around the walls. But as you look closer, you see that there's also a lot of sort of soot on the walls.
Ugh.
And basically you get the impression that the room's pretty much been burnt out at some point.
Well, that's rather inconvenient if the thing we're looking for is a book.
That's what I was just thinking. Acrius, out of curiosity, could you possibly let us know what the name of the book is? Or whether you have a description of it?
That's a good point.
Because otherwise, book could be a bit interesting.
I'll probably let Andrew advise actually, because it's something it's the reason I've been sent out, and I'm not 100% sure actually.
Okay. I mean, that's the sort of background stuff that's pretty much up to you to make up. So you can make up what it is you're looking for and why.
So it should be a leather-bound book with a lock, brass lock.
Okay.
And it's effectively a charter document that lists debts to the temple.
Okay, so an accounting ledger, essentially.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, possibly an office rather than a library.
Seems like it.
Well, we've got one source of sooted, shelved room. Let's press on.
Indeed.
I'm
You
certainly
press
not going
on.
to go into somewhere. I'm not going into somewhere where I'm going to get filthy. God, the sterilising afterwards is just not fair.
Well, do any of you have prestidigitation?
Of course I do. I'm a wizard.
There you go. Job done.
That's true. If I really need to, I have mending, I suppose. If nothing else, I'm going to look neat afterwards.
Now, as you move forward, the corridor opens out into a larger area with 3 sets of large windows along the north wall. It's never going to get most of the sunlight, but for a room on the north side of the building, it feels light and airy. Largely because there's no glass in any of the windows anymore. But still, large and airy.
Yes, that would certainly help. I'll peek in here as well.
Okay, that room to your left feels much more rustic than the room you just came out of. And you notice that there are a couple of murder holes in the floor.
We're above where we came in, aren't we?
Yes. We are.
Okay.
And you notice arrow slits and barred windows in the walls.
Somebody really wanted to defend themselves, didn't they?
Apparently.
Religion can be a nasty business at times.
I'll take
They
your word
can't
for
all
it.
be Kung Fu Pandas.
Haha. Okay. So windows, in which case if we are on that side, the windows are going to be looking out onto the area where the well was, so actually out onto the outside, north side of the abbey, yes?
Yeah,
Correct.
we approached.
Cool. Okay.
Keep going then.
So,
Okay. You
Trying to
have
think.
windows to your right, with some glass remaining in them, not a lot, but enough to see that it's been plain glass. Well, plain with that sort of rippled circular wobble they got on rotationally cast sheet glass.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's remains of glass in the window, and just outside you see a balcony.
Right.
So looking over the courtyard.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. I'm trying to orient myself. That double doors that
They are indeed.
that is Thaddeus, isn't it? That sort of smallish figure.
Yes.
Yes, I'm just in front of the double doors.
Gotcha.
As you move to the double doors, you notice that they pretty much align with 2 more sets of doors directly in front of you. Almost as if it's been some sort of formal processional.
This
Well,
strange
let me
place.
think. Sort of never eat shredded wheat. So east. It's the only way I can work it. It's all right. My geography's dreadful. To my father's shame, because he was that was what his degree was in. I'm just trying to think. If you are an abbot of a sun worshipping temple, come on, brain. Your office is going to be on what you consider to be the most prestigious side of the building. So either the east or the west. So if this is looking formal, then maybe we've got offices or his particular suite or something in here.
Only one way to find
First
out.
on, we'll find out.
Go for
I'll
it.
head through the double doors.
Okay, who's on first?
What's on second?
No.
Well, you said Abbott.
I'm
Yes,
probably the most
fresh out of
armoured.
Costello.
Okay,
Sorry,
so you...
say again?
I'm probably the most armoured, so maybe I should go through.
I
Well,
don't think either
feel
Thaddeus
free.
or myself are going to argue with you.
how are you moving, by the way?
Well, I'm
Uh,
normally
feet.
putting one foot in front of the other.
Fairly cautiously. We know the other 2 are still somewhere here now. We don't know where anymore, do we?
Okay,
True.
so Hacrius is moving cautiously. Make me a stealth check. And if anyone else has noticed that Hacrius is moving cautiously, you can do as well. Or...
That is a reasonable idea if I could actually do stealth.
Yeah, you can always try.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, God.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
That is another thumb. That is adding to your list. You do know this, don't you? Whoa! Hello, Feniston. Good grief, the shadow moves past me.
Yeah.
Oh, good grief. Okay. 21.
Good.
I'll
It's
say,
great when you roll a 19.
so far as heading through these double doors, I have not started moving silently yet, since I haven't noticed that the rest are.
Okay.
I will, however, start from that point on, depending on.
So, 3 of you slip through the door almost in silence.
Not bad for a dwarf wearing mail.
Indeed. And by the time you notice
actually, if he is wearing mail, he has this advantage and will sound like a brass band, since that would be the 2.
Yes, is he wearing his mail at the moment?
Generally, I'd say so, yeah.
So, you remember you asked how bad could it be?
Oh, God. Giant flaming ballista.
Well,
Garrus, you were doing so well.
Hacrius.
so Hacrius,
No, I'm thinking Garrus as well, because he flitted his way through.
yeah, Garros, by the time you notice that he's not behind you, he's in the next room, off in the other corner. But Hacrius steps through the door and some little trinket clatters out of his pocket. Let's see what it might be. Yeah. As you step through, the thong on your sensor snaps and it clatters to the floor. Now, Hacrius, as you lean down to pick it up, you accidentally step on a trailing bit of your surcoat.
No!
And trip face first onto the floor.
Joy.
It makes a bit of noise. Let me just check. I mean, obviously there's, there's no need to... there's no cause for alarm. I'm just wanting to check the, noise value. Okay. So moving on, you've got Hacrius sprawled on the floor. The Phantom in his corner, and none of you are quite sure how he got there. What do you do?
Freeze.
I look down at Hacrius, silently wondering what the frick is doing. Seems rather uncalled for.
Get a fire motion.
I will offer a hand.
Okay, you offer a hand.
Stabilize.
Yep. You offer him a hand, and Hacrius, you take the offered hand and get helped up.
Yeah.
Okay. You manage to get up, and with a bit more caution, you pick up the sensor, tie the little thong together, and in a moment or two you're ready to move out. You've got a couple of minor scuffs on your knees and elbows, but nothing that's really going to do you any harm. What do you do?
I keep going.
All right. You have one door in the wall to your right, the south wall. You have one door beside the door that you just came out of, leading out onto the balcony that you saw through the window.
Right.
You have the double doors to your front, and in the northeast corner you have a small door.
I shall ignore all the doors and look out through the grate, checking into the corner.
All right.
So, still curious where the two squabbling persons went.
Well, you look out onto the courtyard and you see no movement.
Right.
I think we last saw them in the kitchen.
Well, I wouldn't
Wait.
know. I last saw them in the courtyard. And
Which
we don't know if that's actually the same persons or different persons.
That's true.
which in theory may be below where we are.
It is.
Oh, good. Joy.
To the world.
Okay. Thank you. So, double doors donates an idea of a game formality. I would imagine that door goes out onto the walkway.
The south one, yes.
Yeah. Next to the window you were looking out of.
Exactly.
Should we check the small door in the northeast wall first?
Well, might as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to stay where I am so that I can keep an eye through both of the double doors. So if somebody else wants to have a look in that to see whether it's an
Stumbling
accountant's
eager.
place or the almoner's.
Yeah, I'll go and check.
All right.
Northeast.
You sneak in through the door to the northeast, and you find that it's a small room missing a big chunk of the corner. The floor is mostly still there apart from the corner, but it does droop rather worryingly from about halfway in.
Okay, then I'll go no further. Anything else of interest around the walls?
Not in there. It's seen so much rain and weather in there. There's still little
Then I'll-
drifts of snow piled up in the corners. This is an area in the south of this country where you've got still fair amount of snow, but mostly just rain and wind and misery.
We thought to keep
So like a British beach town.
very much. Scarborough, possibly.
Yes.
All right, I'll head back then.
Okay. What do you tell them?
Double doors.
That I found nothing of interest. Just a ruined room with part of the floor missing.
Okay.
Double doors it is then.
Double doors. They are open. As I say, you could see all the way through.
Well, we just keep heading forward then.
Huh?
Not.
It is a room. It contains the mouldering remains of a couple of armchairs, something that could have been a sofa. There are... We'll make a history check. Anyone who wants to.
Yes, I want to. 21.
Yeah.
No.
You see...
Can't come close to that.
You see a few fragments of what's it called? Those sort of carved battens that are used for putting an edge on furniture.
What?
Carved button, put an edge on furniture. Oh, it's not an armlier.
En list in Swedish. Anyway, you see some fragments of wood that you recognise as belonging to a style of furniture that was popular about 220 years ago.
Right.
And you get the impression that they're sort of bookcasey. But there's no sign of any bookcases still here.
And is it enough rubble to actually warrant a search through, or is it more scattered than that?
It's scattered, but if you want to make a search, you can.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Slightly pile.
We'll have a look. Well, it's either we all look or give somebody advantage.
Up to you.
Might as well have a random look around every one of us, I think.
Okie dokie. So,
Investigation.
then.
investigation. Okie dokie.
13.
Okay. Nat 20. Sorry. Gives me a 22.
Okay.
Why
You do
now?
find-
Why when I didn't need it?
You do find some things. Thaddeus finds a bookmark in leather. You know, the kind that everyone had in Britain in the early 80s.
God,
Like-
yes.
Actually,
Long-
no, I don't.
A long rectangular leather bookmark with a little fringe at one
Fringe
end.
bottom. Yeah, and embossed.
Yeah.
I used to collect them.
It's
Everywhere we went, I used to collect them.
yeah. It's covered in mildew now, but back in
Yep,
the day
mine
it
probably
was probably red. It's a bit unclear. And
Mildew, nothing. Casting a prestidigitation, perhaps a spot of mending wouldn't sort out.
prestidigitation will clean it right up.
Yes, and a spot of mending if it's actually broken.
If
So
it's
I'll
not,
clean it. I'll clean it off at least to have
Okay.
a proper look at it.
you have a fine leather bookmark. Pristinely clean.
Oh, why the hell not? I pocket it.
Okay.
Never had too
it's-
many bookmarks.
You may also
Well,
want to
scholar.
make a note that it's embossed with heliurgical insignia and symbols on the front in gold.
Righto.
I need to get some coffee. Now, Ashton,
Yes.
as you rummage through the
Debris.
remnants of an armchair, your fingers clasp around something small and cold and circular.
Carefully retrieve it.
Strange.
Yes, I was thinking that actually.
Hmm.
Carefully bring it out.
Okay. What you find is, you know how sofas and armchairs have a crack between
Uh-huh.
the seat cushion and the back cushion?
Always. Collects a multitude of things.
Yeah. So you've searched through a research station, and in the I've suddenly started feeling vertiginous. Just a moment, I'm just going to add some water. Yeah. Essentially, down the back of the sofa, you find a small silver ring. There are some engravings on it, but it's so dirty and encrusted that you can't really make them out at the moment.
Excuse me. I will look at it cautiously and carefully, and then wander over to Thaddeus, having noticed him already cleaning stuff, and ask, would you mind?
I wouldn't. So I'll clean it up as well.
Okay.
Because that's going to be a lot more careful and delicate than me attacking it with the soap and water later.
Well, yes, the advantage of magic.
Indeed.
And no cheats in that respect.
Yep. So you prestidigitate the ring.
Yes.
You make it clean. And you find that the engraving on it is still quite worn, but you can just about make out a name
Oh.
and the year 280.
Wow. When you say I can make out a name, would it have been any of the ones mentioned in the crypt below?
It is not.
Ah.
Well, it's not the big name. It's one of the names that was on one of the sarcophagi. But it's not...
Not Primus.
No. It's not one of the names that you would have particularly noticed.
And what year is it now?
345.
Well, I will carefully put it into a pocket. Some interest, if nothing else.
Just for reference, did I say 280 or 180?
You said 280.
I meant 180.
Uh-huh. That does make a little bit more sense.
It does.
180.
As I say, I just got very dizzy there for a moment.
Do you want to stop? Are you okay for...
No, I'm ready to go on,
continuing
but
or water?
just be aware that I may end up retconning things when my brain catches up with what I've said.
Not a problem.
And then when we're
It's one
done
of the
here, I'm
reasons
going
I
to go
make
in and
notes.
cook dinner.
As I said, it's one of the main reasons I make notes.
Yep. And speaking of dinner, you see through the double doors ahead of you the remains of two long tables aligned north-south.
Well, we might as well press on and just scope out the entire place anyway.
Okay,
Just to make certain.
so you do that.
Oh, nowhere else. Yeah.
Does it look to be a dining room or an actual kitchen? Or
It looks like it has been a fancy dining room. There's
Oh.
traces of paint on the walls.
Ooh.
Everything from now faded but once very bright pigments. And at the north wall, you see those three gaps in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
They've got that sort of design that you may have seen in churches where you've got three arched stained glass windows with two more between the arches above them.
All right.
Yeah, it's basically
We're talking
that.
definitely fancy.
Yeah.
So anywhere that he wanted to show off and impress prospective
Donors.
supporters, donors, yes.
So, anything of notice in the room besides the tables?
There's a couple of long forgotten bits of cutlery, but there's nothing of any value to anyone.
Well, what we do have to remember is the students of the Glacis school have been here for quite a while, so I would imagine anything that was of any value whatsoever has probably already been picked clean.
Hmm.
Well, we have 2 pieces of evidence that proves the opposite, so I wouldn't be so
Depends where.
quick to dismiss the possibility of finding anything
Oh,
else.
I'm not. I'm just saying it may be why there's nothing obviously
Right.
out and about. We found these because we were looking.
True enough. Well, pressing on, I'd say.
So I'm assuming that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows, and then the south is the door.
Yes, you've got the, as I say, you've got the stained glass windows on the north wall, 2 windows opening out to the west,
Yeah.
a door into the east.
No, two windows to the east. And
Yes.
a door to the west.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a door leading south.
Yeah. I'll check the west door.
Okay. The west door leads into a small room, and just to the right as you come in, there's a hatch in the floor.
Right, I was actually expecting something like that.
Yeah. Serving room with a dumb waiter.
Or the remains of one at least, I suppose.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Or some sort of old school
Yeah.
equivalent.
Indeed.
Yeah, because you're not going to want to risk your posh meals to lay brothers struggling to go up and down the stairs. Possibility of it going cold or being thrown on the floor.
Indeed. Since this is quite a long walk, as it seems. Given that stairs we know are at the opposite end of the...
Yes, we've not seen anything going down as an actual stairway, have we?
No.
Nope. Nothing except where we came up.
Intriguing.
Which is a long way away from where we are.
Unless the room with the crumbled wall floor was a way up at some point, but that's speculation.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, so
Better move on.
south it is.
These, I would assume, are cells.
They are indeed cells. Garros, you notice that there's just something about them that feels better appointed than the ones on the ground floor. They're exactly the same size. They have exactly the same furnishings, or what's left of them. But you notice that they have 2 bookshelves on the wall. And rather than what's it called? I'm really not on form today. I didn't sleep very well. Where was I?
Some sort of furniture. That was
Yeah.
indicated,
Yeah.
but not quite.
So instead of having Now, obviously, only Garros has seen the ones downstairs. Rather than having a wooden, a stone slab built into the wall with a wooden lid on it,
Uh-huh.
these have at some point had proper beds in, which you know because one of them still has the frame of it sitting there.
So we're talking lay brothers below and abbots, etc. The sort of the higher echelons above.
Indeed.
Not changed. Okay.
Given the
Right.
state of your description, I reckon a quick glance into each should
Well,
be
yeah.
sufficient to see if there's anything
Okay.
in any room that has any point of actually deserving proper look or not. There's some green
That is a bush
right.
That would be green.
growing in through the large gap in the wall. Make me a history check.
Heavy. 12.
You have a vague memory as you look out through the hole in the wall and see the lake outside. You seem to recall that during the third to last Pelspar War, there was a brief incursion up here.
Meaning that the hole in the wall could actually be some sort of siege damage.
It could be.
Well, considering the fortification of the abbey,
Wouldn't surprise
they're
me.
obviously expecting some sort of difficulties.
Small-scale
Or
warfare. Well, we're moving on then. Do any of the rooms seem to have anything of notice? Except
apart
Nothing-
from the bushes,
Nothing that springs to mind.
nothing that screams almoner or prior, who might have had the book that Hacrius is looking for.
Not so far. Hacrius, remind me, what is it that's made you look here for it?
Our temple had a fire, so we're effectively trying to find old copies that were given out as proof of the debts,
Okay.
so we can collect.
So,
And they believe at some point that one may have been here.
right. Goody good. So, you get down to the end of the corridor. You find a sort of landing leading off to a window to the east and two doors to the west. There are footprints in the dust.
Ah,
I'm guessing one set of normal sized and one set of half sized.
What a lucky guess.
It's almost like I've heard some people I know walked here earlier.
and spiral staircase that they may have come up.
Indeed.
Yes, we came up those stairs.
I'll actually stand at the top of the stairs and take a proper listen downstairs, see if I can hear
Okay, make a perception check.
moving about. 21.
Nice.
Well, you hear someone talking downstairs. It's a youngish voice. Say, no, I really think I heard someone upstairs.
Oh bugger. I look at my compatriots and say, we should probably move.
You hear footsteps coming towards the staircase.
Oh, we should definitely move.
Definitely move. Forward or back?
Should
Yes.
we head to the
I
west?
think we'll go west.
Okay.
Well, they're going to see footprints whichever way they go. Well,
Yes.
they come up.
There is a door. It is closed. It's not well closed because, the hinges are all knackered and it hasn't closed all the way after somebody else has been through it earlier.
Ah. This is going to be loud.
You should probably be able to squeeze out through the opening.
That's what we did. Or what I did
Yes.
last time.
So the door is actually stuck then.
Not stuck, but when you start to push it, you notice that it will creak.
Right. I do wonder.
Anybody got any oil?
Well,
WD-40.
I was contemplating casting grease on it, but I noticed that that will primarily affect the floor, and we will be starting to slip out, which is
Yeah,
kind
don't
of
fancy that.
unhelpful.
No.
I've always thought that things like grease, it should be possible to cast them,
I know.
at a smaller level.
Actually used to be in some earlier versions, if I recall correctly, and you can actually light on fire as well. It was a much
Yeah.
more fun spell back in the days.
I mean, you know me, I'm very much in favour of interpreting the rules. And assuming that you can use spells with a higher spell slot, I see absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be able to downgrade them a bit.
Right.
Just to be able to sort of the occasional, let's make this one sound a little quieter.
Yes.
Well, in that case, I shall actually grease the hinges.
Alright. I assume you have the spell description in front of you. Does it take any rolls, or does it happen?
It doesn't.
Okay.
It happens.
You grease the hinges.
Any potential rolls will happen if someone tries to move over a properly greased area.
Yeah.
Which they're not in theory going to do here, so yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So you grease the hinges, and you manage to push the door open with minimal creaking. And to see how
Given the
minimal
fact
that
that
is.
you can actually grease a 10-foot square area, those hinges are properly greased by now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost dripping with it.
Yes.
Blech.
The next door is still open.
Keep moving forward.
Yep.
Moving on up.
Then I suggest we take the south door in the next room.
Okay, there's a door to the south.
Might as well keep exploring, hoping for the best.
Indeed.
Never know when we won't be able to continue exploring. So
Indeed, the door to your south is wide open.
Oh, okay.
You hear creaking from behind you as steps start coming up the stairs.
So coming into this room, it looks like there's another
There is a staircase going down. There is a door in the wall to your east.
uh-huh.
And in front of you,
More stained glass, or
there are remnants
windows?
of stained glass. It's just openings now, really. But also here, you see that the roof has at some point in its history been domed.
Oh. Don't move above.
Has been domed. Does that mean that the
Yeah.
roof is no more?
The framework's still there.
Right.
But we are looking up towards the sky, I take it.
It's bijou accommodation that's close to nature.
Opportunity to add your own mark on things, yeah.
It's a fixer-upper.
I was waiting for you to say that.
I'll actually close this door behind us.
Uh-huh.
It's an ideal project for someone.
At some point, they're going to be able to see the footprints, sadly. Now, is that a door
Possibly.
in the... Yeah. Is that a door in the east, again? Opposite the... Right.
And there's a staircase to the west, door to the east.
The staircase to the west, does that look in reasonable condition? Is that stone again?
It's wood again.
It's wood again. Somebody went through a real wood phase. But the east door you said is open?
It is.
Do we want to continue going that way, gentlemen, or shall we go
Yeah.
down?
Yep.
Double check that way first.
Double check that way first. Okay.
Okay. In here you see the frame of a large bed. There's quite a lot missing off it, but what there is has been, at some point in the dim and distant past, been finely engraved or carved.
Yeah.
There's hints of gilding left on it.
I think we might have found the abbot's resting bedroom, as it were.
I think we should have a quick search.
Yes.
Probably should. I'll check the door to the north just to make certain.
Okay.
All to the north.
Within, you find a garderobe in the eastern wall. And there's a very, very old tin bath, wood-lined.
Right.
Oh, I say.
Uh,
It was going.
and there's a stand with a old, rusted wash basin in it.
He had an ensuite. Get him.
I'll take a look at the garderobe. See if it's...
It's a garderobe. There's a hole going straight down. There's a seat. It's a garderobe.
one of those.
They
So
did
not-
sometimes hang things above because they thought that
The smell would keep
stop
them. Yeah.
the moths, etc. away. But I would imagine anything that was cloth is well moulded by now.
Yes. Beyond preservation and mending, I would guess.
Indeed. I'm afraid so. I'm intrigued. I'm not going into the ensuite, as it were. I will, however, be having a quick look in the main bedroom because this may be somewhere where such a book might be kept.
Okay. You are in the main bedroom.
I am. And it is investigation, yep,
Yep, go for
I'm
it.
assuming.
Yes.
No, that's not great. That's only a 9, I'm afraid.
I
I'm
might,
gonna
I
search
might
as
as well have a look.
All right. You think you see something tucked up on top of one of the rafters. And Hacrius, you find a loose brick in the wall. Well, a loose stone.
Oh, shiny. Yep. I'll remove the brick and see what's hidden.
Yeah, well, you pry away the stone fascia, and within you find a tin strongbox kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
As you pick it up, you hear a bit of rattling inside, but it feels lighter than you expect.
Most of it's gone. I'll just put it away in my pack for now, because I imagine we need to make a run for it.
Okay.
When you say something on the rafter,
Hmm.
how high is the rafter from us?
It's a fairly high ceiling.
Shoot. And this is Garrus and myself have seen that.
Garros has seen it. What did you roll?
I rolled the same as him, that's why I was wondering. Because I rolled a 9.
Well, you'll have seen it when Garros started looking up at the ceiling. Looking quite a long way up.
Oh, that's a long way up.
I'll just place myself next to Ashton, looking up, curiously
Okay.
asking,
There's-
"What are you looking for?"
Well, we think there's something on the rafter. Or, sort of on top of the rafter, I should say.
Do I see the thing on the top of the rafter?
Yes, it's a dead crow.
Right.
Ah.
Yeah, you don't want that. It's a crow. And it's dead.
Ew. Okay. No,
but it is
definitely
indeed
not.
a thing on the rafter.
Indeed.
So I suppose we'll be going down then.
Okay. So you return to the staircase, and
Not return as much as head towards it for the very first time.
yes,
That's true, we've not gone down it yet.
Nor up it.
Nope. That's true. Does it go up as well as down?
depends which way you're walking.
That's true. I'm assuming down from where we are that there is no floor above us.
There is none.
No. Ooh. Dun, dun, dun.
You find yourselves.
There's.
Yes. You go down the stairs, through the door, and find yourself in a small room that sort of screams antechamber.
Well, considering this was sort of the bit before you got to go to the abbot's bedroom, I wouldn't have considered it to be an ordinary storeroom, that's for certain.
Yeah, it's there aren't exactly sacks of potatoes lined up in
I'm
here.
counting 3 doors.
Connected to it.
Thank you.
I'll take the south door.
Okay.
I'll have a quick look to the east.
Okay.
I'll keep my ear to the north in that case. I won't
So-
go through, but I will be listening.
The south door leads to a room with the same curved wall as the room above it had,
Makes sense.
and shoved into one of the corners is the remains of an old, large, and once upon a time really quite nice desk.
Ah,
I'll guess I have a quick rummage through the
Okay.
remains of it.
You see on the edges of it that at some point in the last few 6 or 7 decades somebody's tried to light it on fire. The drawers have been broken open and rifled. Give me an investigation roll.
8
it's been rifled.
with a +6 modifier.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
that-
I feel for you.
That is a properly rifled desk.
Indeed.
May even have been bayoneted.
Been more rifle, it would be in the infantry battalion.
Indeed. Hacrius, you come into a room and see I suppose what could be considered some form of proto-filing cabinets around the walls.
I know, I want to see what a proto-filing cabinet looks like now.
It's basically just,
I love it.
A wooden shelf with doors.
yeah.
It's
It's
just lots of rolled up scrolls. But
Yeah,
scrolls, couple of old folios, that sort of
I
thing.
love it.
I'm going to have a rummage then. I guess.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Oh, better.
That's reasonable.
I've got some good news and some bad news.
Ooh.
Okay.
You find a leather-bound ledger
Yeah.
with a brass lock on it.
Mm-hmm.
But as you pull it out off the bookshelf, you find that it's only the first part of it.
Okay.
It's been torn in half at some point.
Shocking. How could you? What,
So you've
what on
got
earth?
maybe 30 or 40 pages bound.
Anything else of interest in the room?
Not a lot. Most of the papers here are very old, very mouldy, very, very gone.
Stone's too good for them. People who desecrate books. Shit, man.
Come back out of there and join me. And the book will go in my backpack for later then.
Perception checks from you all.
Yep.
$23.
Okay. You, Thaddeus,
Yeah.
you notice on the floor a couple of gouges in the flagstones, as if something heavy has been dragged out of the room you're in and through the door to the north a long time ago. Garros,
Yep.
you hear the rattling of a door on the floor above you.
All right. Okay. So I'll just point upstairs to the others to show that they're above.
All right. The others, what do you do?
I'll make a gesture towards the north door.
And I will, having hopefully listened okay, and there's nothing behind it, open it. As carefully as I can.
It opens.
Huzzah!
It's survived the centuries fairly well. There's a little bit of it, but nothing to terrify you. As it opens, you find just outside there a desk that looks like it's been dragged and then thrown into this room.
I'll have a quick check in the desk.
Yep, this desk is particularly plain and simple. It's just got one single little cabinet, for want of a better word, under it.
All right, I'll look in the cabinet.
It is empty.
Oh.
This abbey has been abandoned for a long time.
this door that we just passed through, was it closed when we got here?
The one that you just passed through,
Yeah.
it was mostly closed and sort of standing slightly ajar. As in maybe half an inch to an inch open.
Right. Then I'll actually close it carefully behind us.
Okay.
Does it open outwards or inwards? Oh no, it's going to take it's too heavy. Never mind.
Now, to your right, you have a door going to the east. And to the north, you have a double door that's where one of the doors is standing open, the other is closed. And Garros, you start hearing footsteps on the stairs.
I'll gesture to the others that we'll better get a move on.
I'll just quickly take a look through the east door.
I'm going to move to the north again, being ready to, well, listening and then being ready to open it quickly if I need to.
Okay. As I say, half of the door is already wide open.
Well, stay so I'm not in the doorway, but that I can hear it. But basically, sort of being ready to open it faster if we need to make a quicker exit.
Yeah.
But it's more a case of keeping an eye out and an ear.
Thaddeus.
Yes.
In the room to your east, you see a crate. It doesn't look familiar to you, but it has a shipping label
Read it now.
marked with a crest that you recognize. From the Glacis School.
It seems to be some sort of small window on the wall.
Yes, more of an arrow slit than anything else. You can't see anything out through it, and there are a couple of twigs sticking in.
Well, that answers my follow-up question, namely, would one be able to squeeze out through it?
That'll be a no.
I suppose Garrus could, and I can
Well,
always
then,
miss the
okay.
step, but
For most of us, it's a no.
yes.
Those steps in the staircase, they sound like they're getting nearer.
Oh, great.
I hate to say this, but if you lot try to get out front, I'll check this crate and get out through the window. And we meet at the front.
So, are you sure you can?
Yes, I can.
Okay. In which case, we could, from memory, if that is the courtyard that I can see, we can go out and then to the left and through.
Just for
I believe.
reference, how large is Thaddeus?
Since I'm planning on misstepping, it doesn't matter.
Ah, excellent.
I just have to be able to see outside.
Pretty good.
Because it's a teleport.
Awesome.
But yes, size-wise, he is a medium size, 170, 50
Yeah.
kilos. So he is kind of a small fellow for a medium-sized creature, but still, I think, way too thick for an arrow slit. But then again, I shall cheat,
So I
Cheating is
guess,
fun.
yeah.
because I'm a wizard.
So I guess we go out the door to the north.
Indeed. And then, so I'm going to go through, into the courtyard area, which does look very much like where I can remember us looking, and then from this it's going to be up to the left, which is sort of where we came in to see this in the first place before we went into the chapel, yes?
Yes.
Yep, we came from there, didn't we?
Yes, that's it. So that way, yeah, I agree. So moving rapidly
Briskly.
but not running, because running makes more sound.
All right. And the rest of you?
Yeah, I'll follow.
Yep, I'm definitely going to follow.
Okay. So, Thaddeus,
Yes.
you are all alone in that room.
Yep.
The others are pelting it up the corridor. Are you being quiet or being stealthy or singing a sea shanty or what?
I'll actually close the door behind me and as quietly as I can, I shall rummage through the crate.
Okay.
Get out of dodge.
How do we move to dodge? Gosh.
The crate contains some medical supplies. And
Anything I recognize?
investigation?
No.
Oh.
It's definitely stuff.
As you rummage through it, your hand falls on a packet in the bottom that has been improperly secured. And you find yourself... Actually, just give me a quick constitution roll.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah, it doesn't do you much harm, but it gives you a terrible start. So you find it difficult to avoid an exclamation. Whether that's
Hence why I closed the door.
whether that's swearing loudly or yelping like a puppy that's stepped on Lego. I'll leave that up to you.
It's probably some sort of yelp, yes.
Okay.
So it was inadvertent. But I'm more deliberate in my exclamations. They tend to be in Draconic.
Yes. So you snatch your hand back from the bowels of this crate and find blood pouring from two of your fingers. A scalpel blade is still stuck in one of them.
Ow.
Double bugger. Well, I'll pull that out and...
Who's that?
I was going to say use some sort of cloth to realize that I didn't have any, so I'll just pilfer something from the box of medical supplies. Supposedly some sort of bandage in the top.
Okay. You snatch something that you seem to vaguely recall was a bandage from the pile
Yes.
where you think you left it.
Some sort, somewhat absorbent. That will do the trick.
Okay. And you hear pounding on the door behind you. It seems
look at
to be
that.
stuck.
Would you look
The
at
rest
that?
of you, you are, as has been established, pelting it up the corridor. Or possibly the Khyber, it's unclear. And you're up in the hallway, making a break for freedom!
queen, their king. We shall not be fooled again.
No new sugar-free iron brew.
Aye.
Bring back classic brew. Ah, fancy that. FaZe is raiding us. Hello.
Get
Hello?
away with it.
Now you are escaping. Well, three of you are
Certainly trying
escaping.
We're certainly trying to.
And, Thaddeus, tell me all about Misty Step.
Well, what I do is I skedaddle a bit closer to the window to get a proper view of some sort of spot outside.
It takes some contortion because it's full of tree.
Yes, but as long as I can see just a minor spot of ground somewhere, that's all I need. And I'll just say a short word of power, transform into mist, and teleport 30 feet beyond where I am.
Okay, what word do you utter?
I don't know, I don't know Draconic. It is something short and snappy. Quite efficient.
Let's get out of here.
Or
Something like that, but in Draconic.
Avaunt! Oh no, that's not quite
Bugger.
what is it? Yeah, that'll work. Rosford Mawr.
So yeah, I'll pop out a sign with that.
okay.
Then I shall commence to head around the building, moving towards the front to meet up with the rest of the gang.
As you materialize, slightly tangled in the branches, you hear a thunderous crash behind you as the door caves in.
How couth.
You find yourself on the outside of the building,
Yes, that was the plan.
clutching in your hot little hand what shall it be? In your hand you find a syringe of morphia,
Hey, what now?
a syringe. You know the little tubes of superglue?
Right, yes.
Ampule like.
Yeah, imagine that, but with morphine.
Right, old school glass thingies.
No, it's a little metal tube, like a tube of
Alright.
Superglue.
Yeah, I think I know how
Yeah.
it looks.
main difference is that it's got a needle on the end rather than a pointy plastic spout.
Yep.
What the heck?
I spy a Hacrius's microphone.
Oh goodness.
And, yes, so you find yourself clutching a syringe of morphia, a sanitary towel, and a small box of throat lozenges.
Okay.
That'll do, I suppose.
It's absorbent. It'll definitely do something with the blood.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Make sure you add it to your inventory.
Anything else besides that is just pure bonus. How do I spell that thingamajig with the morphia?
Syreette.
Ah, right.
Sort of syringe pipette.
Yep.
I shall not write down the towels, as I assume I will discard it shortly. And then I head around, going east and north.
Goody good. And,
And I do try to keep somewhat low profile, at least around the windows and such.
Yeah, and I'll just drop a picture. Not that one.
That was a strange picture.
It was a good picture, but it's not the one I wanted.
Oh, it was strange in the circumstances.
I'll drop it in the Discord instead.
That'll work.
That is a sirette of morphine.
Right.
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, snap. I'll be back in a sec.
Roger that. And I shall switch the feed to break.
I'll be back in a minute.
And I'll have a biscuit. We're actually getting some stuff done now.
Well, that's a matter of definition. Or a question of.
I mean, I've spent the last 2 sessions trying to get you out of the Abbey.
Fair enough.
Sort of, look, here are interesting things to do. Yes. But let's just sit in the crypt for a while.
Well, in all fairness, last session was pretty much a waiting game to
Yeah.
let the others catch up. So it doesn't really count.
Some things are easier when you've got everyone at the table.
Yep, definitely.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Yep, I'm definitely going to have dinner soon.
It was dinner time ages ago.
Yes. I think I had some food yesterday.
I find one of the main benefits of my intermittent fasting is that I really keep my dinner time.
Hmm. I just have great difficulty focusing on timings at the moment. Not to the extent that I'm ever late for work, obviously. When does work?
Hello, hello, hello.
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 Ah, everyone's back.
So, everyone's back?
Yeah.
Yes?
Goody good.
Don't know whether Heathen 1984 is.
Yeah, I'm
Aha!
back. Yep.
Silent.
But deadly. So,
I don't know. That crash upstairs was pretty loud.
yes. So Thaddeus has escaped. The rest of you are heading for the door. Now, Ashton, I see that you appear to be at the tail end of the line.
Don't know why, but by the looks of it. Thank you,
Okay.
my love. What is my
As
well, walking is 30 feet, so
yeah, it's pretty much the same for almost all of
You're
you.
probably staying behind the short-legged ones, because they are slower than you, both of them.
That's true. I've got longer legs as a half-elf.
Did you ever watch Police Academy?
Yes.
Do you remember Captain Harris?
Yes.
Move it, move it, move it!
Ah. Well, I won't actually be doing that because I don't really want to draw attention to us.
That's what they say now. Anyway, as you usher the other two up north, and you duck through the door, you hear a voice behind you.
Uh-oh.
Say, I say, you there! Do you fancy waiting to see what they have in mind?
Not particularly. For a
In
start,
the-
I have absolutely no idea what I would say to them. Genuinely.
Then I posit.
I wouldn't do that. I'm not that nasty. So I've just noticed the loyalty one. But at the moment, Ashton has no clear idea what on earth she would say to anybody who is talking in that particular frame of tone. Unless she can see Aether, in which case she will go, he'll tell you everything!
Aether, alas,
she
is nowhere
genuinely
to be seen.
hasn't got a clue.
Well, unfortunately, Aether is nowhere to be seen.
Typical. Probably found another bottle.
But you are in a position to leg it for the door.
Legging it,
Yeah.
trying to ensure that the people with shorter legs also leg it.
Yeah, definitely liking it.
Definitely.
Don't think I have anything that I honestly feel like I should be using from a spell point of view, because I would feel really guilty.
So do you just leg it, or...
Oh. Oh, it's a touch. I'm sorry. The sudden overwhelming desire to turn around and go, you saw nothing! As a command. But you do have to touch. Hi-ho. Oh no, it's 60 feet. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, don't do that.
What?
Look at the wrong thing.
Yeah, it is not a good idea. I'm going to go with the impulse.
Okay.
Ensuring that the other two are still running and making it, I will turn and with a certain, hopefully, level of importance go, cast. You saw nothing! I nearly wanted to say these are not the droids you're looking for, but that's the wrong place!
I mean, to be honest, is it ever the wrong place, really?
No, that's true. This is not the illusion you thought it was. But yeah, basically. Oh, excuse me. Hang on a second. Not to hear me coughing.
The figure emerging from the door steps through, hears this shout, and he sort of stops for a moment, and he blinks and looks around, and then he rubs his eyes and blinks again, and then he sort of focuses on what do you do after sending the instruction.
Oh, basically, I legged it. As soon as I said that, I would have
Okay.
booked it after the other two.
So he
I
rubs
am
his
not
eyes.
giving him another person to,
Yeah.
focus on again.
It looks for a moment as if the spell has taken, but he's able to shrug it off,
Bastard.
and just as the doors slam shut behind you, he sets off again.
Rats. Basically, I'm not going to go in a straight line because that's going to be obvious. So I will be going around the
Rocks.
cottage
The
or
rugged
wherever,
rascal.
No, thank you.
Yeah?
The ragged rascal run. But yeah, basically, I will be almost like sort of they say, jinking sort of left and then moving off into undergrowth and trying not to make too much sound when I get to trees and branches because that's when you start noticing things
Indeed.
like strange branches waving around and people lost in them.
And strange women lying in lakes distributing
Absolutely.
swords.
There's
So,
no kind of.
What about...
But
I was also heading left towards the cottage.
Okay.
I'm trying to give them enough time to get further away.
Yeah. And Hacrius.
I'm gonna follow Garrus, I guess. Away.
Okay, so you all pelted out through the door,
Yep.
jink to the left into the woods.
Yep.
Alright. How far into the woods do you run?
How far's reasonable? To a nicely sized tree that I can lean against and then glance behind to make sure nobody's following us.
Okay.
Yeah, basically enough of a way in to then be able to hopefully carefully look round and see whether we're being followed.
Yeah. Okay, and the other two?
Because if we are, I may be doing hold person.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of different distance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And Thaddeus, what are you doing?
Well, as I said, I sneak up the east side of the building,
Go on.
going all the way up. You want me to sneak?
You don't need to at the moment.
Right. And, well, there's a handy patch of vegetation over here, I see. So I'll actually head into that one and take a look towards the main entrance.
Okay.
Just to see what happens. Both to see if I actually make it out ahead or behind the rest of the gang, since I don't know how fast they legged it or not. I suppose I am behind them by now. Well, that's a person.
I say. Oh, yes, he was one of the ones that were arguing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I recognise the stance.
Now, Thaddeus,
Excuse me.
over
Yes.
by the door, you see a young posh man emerge.
Yes, I
he,
suppose what was it called?
yes. He doesn't look like he's accustomed to chasing or being chased.
Gee, I'm so surprised.
My grief for that.
And the other three, you also see him, but from the other direction. He looks around. Seems to be contemplating whether or not to chase after these strange intruders. And eventually settles on yelling, "And stay out!" Then he ducks back in and slams the door behind him.
If
Right,
I had
this is
spent
what
just a
I was
little
saying.
more time with Aether, I would probably have taken that as a challenge.
I am so glad that you've managed to shake off the temptation.
As is right now, I'll just head north for a bit and move just at the edge of the presumed thickening forest, still keeping an eye towards the abbey and heading towards the road,
Okay.
hoping to meet up with the rest of the gang, because that seems like a reasonable idea at the moment.
Yeah.
Do we notice Thaddeus moving towards the road towards the way out, as it were?
Thaddeus, are you being stealthy?
Oh, yes, I am. I assumed there could be people checking the windows.
Make a stealth roll. And
I am
anyone
not
looking...
stealthy. Not at all.
The other three, make a quick perception roll.
14.
And Hacrius.
Oh, there we go. I need to go back to the right sheet.
So you see and hear a walking expletive moving through the bushes on the other side of the path.
Oh dear.
There's some stumbling and some grumbling and the occasional word in Draconic that you can't quite understand, but there's a small flurry of purple sparks every time you hear it.
Move up.
Right.
Yes. Move up quickly and carefully to join him.
Are you being stealthy?
A little more than he is, but not by much.
That's not saying much.
How much? Not by much.
I'm
Let's
definitely not.
see.
stealthy.
He rolled a 4. I rolled an 8. But he can definitely hear Hacrius.
It's the sodding secret squirrels here.
I was
Okay.
going to say, Garrus is our secret squirrel, definitely. Oh,
Yeah.
24.
Double 20 even.
Yeah. So, Thaddeus,
Yes.
as you approach the path, just off screen, I suppose,
Yeah, most likely.
you feel a tap on your shoulder.
Oh dear. Turn around with my staff slightly raised, ready to cast.
You see Garros.
Bloody hell.
Hello!
And the fact that it wasn't my shoulder meant he more or less jumped, actually.
Could have been elbow.
If he
he
touched
could have
my
jumped.
shoulder,
No, he
he
could have.
had more or less have to jump,
That's true.
given that gnomes are around a meter tall. I don't think he has arms long enough to actually reach all the way up. Right.
And, yeah, Hacrius. Have you ever heard an elk lumbering through the undergrowth? Well, that's pretty much it. There is much noise, but you get the impression that nobody's really looking out at the moment. So you all do manage to regroup, really by just following the sound. And you gather together in a little copse just north of the abbey. And Thaddeus,
Oh, sorry.
and Thaddeus is a sight.
Having noticed that he's dripping blood, I have actually cast Healing Word.
I noticed.
Thank you.
Dripping is perhaps a bit of a strong word.
You tell his
dripping
coat
in
that.
Oh, I think that can't be magicked away.
Well, as you might have gathered, there are no hit points to heal, but you certainly managed to magically stitch up his fingers.
I tossed that sanitary towel.
Yes. What's
Where
your
on earth did you find that?
What's your alignment?
Neutral.
Okay, that's all right then.
That's okay. Ashton will be picking it up.
Find what? The nicks in my fingers or the...
Well, A,
Cloth.
what on earth did you do to damage yourself like that? And B, where did you find a sanitary towel? And she is picking it up. You're not littering.
Well, the crate had medicinal supplies of some sort. And apparently a loose scalpel at the bottom. Which I found. Painfully.
Ouch. Why on... Oh, I suppose
I
if you're
did
here for a
find this.
while...
I did find this strange little tube thingy. Do you know what this is? I showed you, Sireth.
Oh, a threat. Morphia. Why on earth would they want morphine?
What's that?
It's a pain-killing drug.
Huh. Well, given that an entire box had all sorts of medical supplies, I suppose. I mean, I assume they were. Not really my expertise.
I'm a little confused why a band of male students had a sanitary towel. That's intriguing.
Well, perhaps just a random crate of medical stuff.
As you unfold the fistful of junk that you picked up, you also find an invoice
Oh,
in the bottom of it. It is made out to the Glacis School. Nobody named, just the school in general. And the invoice has been issued by Cavendish's chemist.
has it indeed?
No.
What's the date?
It's dated about 4.5 weeks ago.
So approximately when he disappeared.
A week or two before.
Okay, what's the item on the invoice?
It's not itemised, this one. It's
Okay.
just listed as a sort of general package. Assorted medical
So-
supplies as per letter.
Okay. That would... Why on earth would you have... No.
You'll notice, you'll recall, of course, that in the ledger you found at the chemist, he had quite a lot of things that, rather than being itemised, were listed as per.
Yeah. So I would assume his letters would have been kept somewhere else, not with the invoices.
Mm.
We didn't delve that much further into that.
You didn't delve
that's a
too
link.
deeply or too greedily.
No. Well, that's a link with Cavendish. Good God, I hate it when Aether might have had a right idea. What the heck? So, why did they have them? If the main camp that they were in was the first place that Aether and Garros found, why the heck was the medicinal stuff
In the
in a
back?
separate place right down the back? That doesn't make sense. You'd put your medical supplies we're expecting to be able to find them quickly.
Well, that
Or am I-
depends on who should be able to access them.
Well,
Could be
morphine is
that not everyone was supposed to have access to it.
morphine is or can be addictive, but because it's quite a powerful painkiller. Ah, the amount of times that morphine has been my friend.
But hang on now. The bloke that went outside,
Hmm.
he couldn't really have been the one that came down the stairs now, could he?
No, I would imagine that was the older bearded man who snapped at him, "Shut up, Wesley." So I assume that the youth at the door was Wesley.
Yeah, sounds right. And Garrus, do you remember who the two people you saw were? Was one of them the bloke at the door?
Oh, I don't remember.
You can make a quick intelligence check if you like.
All right.
Oh, half of me wants to go back and say, "What have you done with my chemist?"
I clicked intelligence, where it actually says intelligence too.
Ah, up there. Yep.
Yeah,
No, that was a save, but probably doesn't matter. Perhaps it did.
a roll's a roll.
Yeah.
The youth at the door is indeed one of the two people you saw earlier.
So, does that make the bearded person Crowther? Which doesn't feel like it gels because he's an older gentleman.
Yes, and the crowd that we know was a younger Oik.
Oik. I know, I do love that word. Oik. So is that person Wesley Crowther? Because Crowther is obviously a surname if they're following a typical sort of public school identity of only calling them by their surnames.
Which would make it somewhat odd if his teacher called him by his first name.
Yeah. So unless they were too well, I don't know. I mean, I'm possibly doing a disservice to people to say that they can't be an older student. It's just I can't see somebody calling an obviously older bearded gentleman an oik. I would have expected a different word.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty certain that one of the bartenders that lamented his behavior said he was one of the younger ones.
Yes, this is it. He was fairly sure he's being described as being younger.
Yeah.
And bearded is a fairly easy thing to say when you're saying this is how I describe them.
And the fact that the bearded fellow was a dwarf, if I recall correctly.
I thought they were the same size.
Were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that...
He just
I think
looked
they
a
were
bit
both human.
dwarf-like, because
Right.
Roll20's a bit weird with aspect ratios.
Right, so it's just stockier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in which case we have two people, one of whom is called Wesley, and we don't know where Crowther is. Unless he's Wesley Crowther.
Which could... I mean, it could be one of those persons, the bearded guy that actually calls people by your first name when he's annoyed with them.
Did any of you get a good look at him?
I got a somewhat decent look.
He didn't strike you as one of nature's academics.
No, he felt more like a mercenary in my mind.
Certainly this is it, bearded with a...
heavily armed, if I recall correctly. Seem to recall he had a large rifle on his back.
Yes, I remember a firearm.
Well,
Bearded hat.
you notice that it's looking towards getting dark.
Oh,
You've
dear.
probably
We have
got
this.
an hour or two to sundown.
Well, how far from the town are we?
Quite a bit.
Are we? I didn't think it was that far.
You're about a 15-minute walk from the bus stop.
And it's about an hour or two to sundown. So, to the bus stop. Oh. We don't
Yeah.
know how often the buses are.
Then again, neither of us have a problem with darkness, so we should
That's true.
probably just start walking and
Yep,
get
that's
back
true.
to town, even though it will be late.
Pin something to the bus stop to say, Aether, we're walking home.
Yeah, seems about right.
Okay.
Because none of us have the message. He's the one who...
Well, actually, I
talk to
do,
us.
but I'm guessing he's a bit too far away. But I can try it. Though the range is somewhat limited, since we are a bit away.
Well, we don't actually know which side of the building he's walking round, so...
Well, doesn't
Considering
really
you
matter.
came up the east side...
I'll just point towards the building and it should sort itself out if it's within range. So I'll do just that. I'll whisper a message and point towards the building and hope it finds Aether. Pretty much saying, this sucks, we're going back to the village.
Okay.
I might be an elf, but I do not appreciate tromping about in the forest.
I think the forest wouldn't never mind. Anyway. Alright, so you head back to the bus stop. You have a fairly long wait, but given that it's out in the countryside, a 25-minute wait for a bus isn't really that bad.
So there is actually some sort of timetable on it, so we know this.
I mean, I say timetable.
Yeah.
It's more, it's more an indication,
Well, there is something at least then.
an ambition.
It's more the case of, if there doesn't look like there may be anything running, we know we have to start walking.
Yeah.
But if there is the possibility that there's something coming, we'll probably stay put and wait.
For a while at least.
Exactly.
While we do so, I'm going to try and check the lockbox that I took out of the wall.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Is it locked?
It is locked. Just give me a quick strength check. Yeah. You pick it up and you sort of very gently pry it. With any other lockbox, it wouldn't have worked, but this one's so rusted and corroded that you hear a ping as the latch breaks.
Fantastic.
Inside it, there's a couple of quill nibs. There's a button for an overcoat. It's green.
Oh, lovely.
And there are 2 gold florins.
Beers are on me tonight.
Sorted. Well, prefer wine, but okay.
And you've both been rolling saves instead of proficiency checks.
Oh,
But that's alright. That's alright, a roll's a roll.
But to actually get it right, you click your To make an ability roll, you click the ability name to the far left of the sheet.
Ah, okay.
Anyway, so you get on the bus. The sign on the bus stop says bus on the hour. And so it arrives at just past.
Fancy that.
And it transports you without much difficulty back to the town. How much did I say that would be?
Can't recall.
It wasn't. It was sort of like a 4 or 5 copper.
It was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Whatever copper was.
Yeah.
Pennies.
Well, it'll be about that many groats. So say 4 groats. For now.
Yes, that is actually a number.
Yes,
3 to 4 isn't a number, it's several.
exactly. Because let's face it, who's interested in a precisely keeping track of money? I do enough budgeting in real life.
Barely have any,
Exactly. Anyway,
i.e. me.
yeah. That's why I play role-playing games, so I don't have to keep track of my money.
But I don't have any money in the role-playing game either.
Okay, and you get
Interesting,
back
that's much.
to the town.
Yes.
And presumably, will you want to do anything while you wait for Aether to rejoin you?
Well, we've just been promised ale,
To the pub.
or at least
and
something
a
the equivalent.
A spot of dinner would probably be nice.
Ooh, food would be good. Yes.
And on that note, I'll say that you all go off for dinner in the pub. And did you leave the note as well as sending a message into the Aether?
Yeah, we'll put it on the
Yes.
Okay.
put it on the bus stop.
Righto.
I use half a parchment because I have it.
Alright. Well then you have left a message on the bus stop, you've left a message in the air, and you are sitting in the pub with some grub, ready to start feeling human again.
Or half elf, anyway.
Indeed.
Half
And
human.
with that, I'm going to say we'll pick it up again next time.
Sounds good.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
Then I shall commence with leveling up. Haha.
Yes. So Thaddeus and Garros, if you get in touch afterwards, we'll get you leveled up. And now I just need to think of a good title for this session. Right.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
I am stopping the stream then.
Yes. Have fun. And for those who turned up in the chat, there actually were a few.
Were there?
Yes.
Hey!
As I say, FaZe raided us. Lucy's been here.
Well, yes, it's face.
Yes.
That's true. Oh, that was interesting. I actually got to cast two spells this time. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.